warm welcome to today's edition of Money Moves. I am Melissa Enoch here at the FMDQ studios in Lagos.
I am Grace Agbarago. It's Thursday, the 4th of December. We thank you for joining us at this time on the show.
All right, then let's tee off with your news now. Vodafone Kenya will acquire a 15% stake in Safaricom from the government of Kenya for 204.3 billion Kenyan shillings, boosting its direct and indirect holdings to 55%. The deal involves the purchase of over 6 billion shares at 34 Kenyan shillings each, alongside an internal reorganization in which Vodacom Group acquires a 4.99% indirect stake in Safaricom. As part of the agreement, Vodafone will also make an upfront payment of 40.2 billion shillings for rights to future Safaricom dividends. Vodafone Kenya has stated that it does not intend to launch a takeover offer for Safaricom. The European Union held a press briefing on the new agreement to phase out Russian natural gas imports, marking one of the bloc's most significant energy shifts since the start of the Ukraine crisis. The deal set out a clear timeline for ending dependence on Russian gas while requiring member states and energy companies to reconfigure supply contracts, redirect flows, and strengthen energy security measures across the EU. Let's take some excerpts.
Last night, we reached a provisional agreement on the Commission's proposal to fully phase out Russian fossil fuels. We're turning that page, and we're turning it for good. This is the dawn of a new era, the era of Europe's full energy independence from Russia. Many believe this would be impossible. Well, the figures speak for themselves, and let me give you some. Today, Russian gas imports, so LNG and pipeline, are down from 45% at the beginning of the war to 13%. Coal imports are down from 51% at the beginning of the war to now 0%. And crude oil imports are down from 26% to 2% today. I always knew that we could deliver with unity, with resolve, and by building on the extraordinary work of the past 3 years. With our Repower EU plan, we overcame the worst energy crisis in decades. We saved energy together while ensuring energy security all the way. We diversified our suppliers to trusted partner, signing new partnerships, and we invested in renewables and nuclear at unprecedented speed.
Again, in the last 3 years, exciting of the renewables, as we have seen, renewables in the last 3 years, Madam President, increased 40% in 3 years, which is unbelievable, a big growth, again, as we have suggested. And again, we have suggested that the nuclear should give it a second thought, and the countries that wanted to phase out nuclear stop their policies and continue with nuclear. And today, I think a historic day, thanks to the strong leadership of Madam President. And also, I can also thank and congratulate my friend, Mr. Commissioner Dan Jorgensen. His great efforts until this morning continue. I hope then you will have some time to enjoy this today and mark this occasion.
In one of the panel discussions held at the 2025 African Securities Exchanges Association Conference, the Chief Executive Officer of Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange, Peter Nalitulela, addressed how African capital markets can drive wealth creation by shifting investors from traditional assets to more productive market-based opportunities. Here are excerpts.
If you look at most of our economies in sub-Saharan Africa in particular, but I think across the continent in general, we're used to this traditional way of investing whereby you get a bit of money, you save up, you buy a piece of land, and hopefully maybe you farm or build a house for rent, etc. And the challenge that most of us face is that you get a piece of land, but then you don't have much more money to develop it, and it becomes trapped capital. And this is a reality for most of Tanzanians. And there's nothing wrong with owning lands. And traditionally, land has always been a very valuable asset to us as Africans. But what you end up having is an asset that doesn't produce for you. And one of the things that we've been trying to do as the exchange, working with our brokers, working with the regulator as well, is try to educate Tanzanian that, look, if you have just 10,000 shillings, which is about $4, you can actually buy some shares. And lo and behold, if you look, for example, at DSC, because we are self-listed, just in a span of a year, our share price has actually more than doubled.
African Development Bank has approved a credit guarantee of up to 450 million euros to support the low carbon goals of Morocco's OCP group. The financing will enable OCP to mobilize up to 530 million euros in long-term funding from international financial institutions to boost low-carbon fertilizer production. OCP plans to invest $13 billion between 2023 and 2027 to fully switch to renewable energy and desalinated water in its industrial processes, aiming for carbon neutrality by 2040. The funding will support projects to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, develop clean energy, and enhance operational efficiency in water and energy management. In Kenya, the Central Bank of Kenya, the National Treasury and Economic Planning, and the Women Entrepreneurs Finance Code Kenya chapter have unveiled 3 transformative policy frameworks: the National Financial Inclusion Strategy for 2025 to 2028, the 4th Medium-Term Plan for the Financial Services Sector, and the signing of the Women Entrepreneurs Finance Code. Here are excerpts.
This makes today's event a true embodiment of the African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Only through partnership and collaboration will we be able to realize a better and prosperous Kenya in line with the government's transformation agenda. Cabinet Secretary, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, allow me to say that for us at the Central Bank, it gives us even more honor to host this event at the CBK IMS. Recently, what was known as the Kenya School of Monetary Studies was renamed to the Central Bank of Kenya Institute of Monetary Studies. CBK IMS is now well positioned to build on its strong foundation, offering best-in-class training and capacity building for the financial sector in Kenya and beyond. Cabinet Secretary, distinguished guests, with these few remarks, it gives me great pleasure to once again welcome you all to the CBK IMS for today's launching and signing.
Finally, on the news now, the Bank of Mozambique has imposed an annual cap of 6 million meticais on payments made with bank cards abroad. The measure came into effect on Tuesday and will run for 12 months. According to a document obtained by OPE, the central bank stated that individuals and legal entities may only make foreign payments using bank cards up to the 6 million meticais limit. The rule applies to all credit institutions supervised by the central bank and to all holders of bank cards issued in Mozambique, whether residents or foreign exchange holders. The limit is aggregate across the national banking system, meaning payments or cash withdrawals using cards from different banks cannot exceed 6 million meticais per year. Daily card limits set by individual banks remain unaffected. I am Melissa Enoch, and that's it on News Now this Thursday. The show returns shortly with Grace at the FMDQ Archives Room, giving us our markets update. Stick around.
at Africa Energy Week in 2025. First day of the event is booming everywhere. A lot of people, many stakeholders from the energy value chain.
We're here to promote the need for investments in a robust downstream sector to truly have energy security for the continent.
Welcome back to Money Moves. Let's now go over to Grace for today's markets review on how the markets wrapped up today. Hello there, Grace.
Hi, Melissa. Let's take a look at how the markets rounded up today, starting off with the equities. The Nigeria stock market edged up 0.10%, while the BRVM also advanced 0.20% to 353.11. The Nairobi Securities Exchange gained 1.82% to 182.08. In South Africa, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange dipped 0.22% and the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange rose 0.79%. Finally, in North Africa, the EGX 30 closed higher, up 0.38%. Let's do a quick round on some of the Pan-African currencies. The Rand strengthened 0.27% to 16.98 against the US dollar. The Egyptian pound inched up 0.05% to 47.57, while the CFA franc gained 0.04%. The Kenyan shilling slipped 0.05% to 129.35. The Moroccan dirham rose 0.13%, and the naira appreciated 0.18% to 1,448 naira 25 kobo. Let's switch into the commodities data deck, beginning with energy prices. Brent crude climbed 0.54% to $63.01, and US WTI gained 0.68% to $59.35. Natural gas eased 0.12% to $4.98, while Arabian gasoline edged up 0.34% to $1.83 as of 13:39 GMT. Now, finally, two soft prices. Cocoa was up 0.27% to $5,501, while coffee gained 0.94% to $375.95. Cotton inched up 0.02%, palm oil rose 0.60%, and sugar was unchanged at $14.93 as of 13:42 GMT. And that's our Money Moves markets this Thursday. Back to you, Melissa.
Grace, thank you very much for those market updates. And that's it on today's edition of Money Moves. From me and the rest of the team here at the FMDQ studios, we say thank you for watching and bye for now.